Hey guys, today I thought I might take you through a day to evening look using the Thin Lizzy range. I haven't actually used many of these products before, so it will be a first impressions video as well. I'll give you my final thoughts on my favorite pieces at the end. So let's get started. I have moisturizer on my skin and I've let it settle in. I'm gonna move on to primer. Now I have the Thin Lizzy primer. It is the pore minimizing primer. I have tried this one before and it is very nice. So I'm just gonna pop a little bit of that on the back of my hand. And using a foundation brush, I'm just going to evenly distribute that all over my face. Focusing mainly through the center of the face, often where the makeup moves the most and where the pores are the largest. Great. Okay, now I'm just gonna do a little bit of color correction under the eyes, just for a nice brightened effect. Now I'm using a peach corrector here under the eyes. Now, peach correctors are great for making you look refreshed and well rested because they have that little bit of warmth in them. Now I like to do my under eye concealer in roughly a little triangle shape. I find that is the nicest method for my face shape. Because I have very high cheekbones and quite a broad area through here, I think the triangles add some nice extra dimension there without, making my face look more square. Okay, so I'm using the shade Miss Von Ditter. I'm just going to get a bit of that and just work it into the skin in nice circular motions. So the more that you buff and blend in, kind of warms up the minerals and gets them all working, and they just kind of get lovelier the more you work with them. Now I'm a huge fan of this foundation because as someone like myself who doesn't really like the feeling of a full coverage liquid or cream foundation, I've noticed this one is really nice as an all day wear. You don't really notice it there. Same with most minerals, but I do like this one in particular because I've noticed it doesn't change color. Problem I find with some other minerals I've tried is they tend to change color once they oxidize and react with your skin's natural oil. But this one is quite good. It seems to just do its thing and doesn't expect much from you, just loves you for who you are. Now, you don't have to do this, but this is a pretty good match for my skin anyway, but I will just take a little bit down past my chin onto my neck and décolletage. Just because also once the minerals interact with your natural oils, they have this beautiful glow to them. So I want that glow everywhere too. For myself, I'm quite a natural person, so I like very, very basic day looks. So today I'm going to use the 6-in-1. This one is very well loved, as you can see. The label's worn off and not a whole lot left. That just tells you how much I love this product. I use it for absolutely everything. And it's a really good all-rounder for a day look, specifically when you just want something to make you look warm and fresh and put together. So I'm just taking some on a nice straight brush, and I'm just going to add a little bit as kind of a contour, just right under the cheekbone there. Just for some dimension. I've got quite a deep hollow in my cheek anyway, so I don't normally contour too much, if at all. But I'm doing this more for the warmth of it, just to add that little bit of contour, but more kind of spreading it up and adding a bit of warmth to that area. And now with the same brush, because I do like this brush, I'm also going to do a wash on my eyelids of the same product. I'm just going to just gently sweep it, focusing mainly on the crease of the eye, but because of the size of the brush, it will wash over the entire area. And all that does is add just that little touch of warmth and color and a little bit of dimension. Here we go, see? Just added a little bit of warmth. Now, if you wanted to, and you're a contour queen, you can also contour the sides of the nose. I don't usually, but I will for the purpose of this tutorial. It does add a little bit of warmth too if you go quite soft and not too heavy-handed. So I just took it on a loose eyeshadow brush, and then with an empty brush that's nice and fluffy, I'm just softening the edges just to make sure it's really nice and blended. And then just because I didn't before, I will just blend the edges a little bit more on that wash. So now we have a little bit of color in the face. I'm gonna go ahead and add some more of that 6-in-1 just over the tops of the cheeks. Adds a bit of more color. And on the tops of the temples there, just to add a bit more warmth to my skin. I am quite a fair skin tone, so a bit of bronzer goes a long way. So I'm just framing my face now with the same product, very light-handedly, taking another brush with nothing on it and just softening it again. Now this is not really to contour or emphasize my jaw, because as you can see I've got quite a sharp jaw. It's just to warm up the area. I find that framing it a little bit, just softly with my face, is nice just to bring that warmth in, just because I am quite a fair shade. Most days I'll leave my eyes as is and just finish with a light coat of mascara to finish. But today I think I might spice things up and take a few shades out of the Warm Collection palette, which looks like that. Beautiful colors there. So I'm going to take the shade Mayhem, which is the one down the bottom here, with a fine angled brush. Just get a little bit of product on there. And what I'm gonna do is just do a nice soft powdered eyeliner on my top lid. Now, browns and coppers around the eyes are just a wonderful way to add dimension and warmth to the eye without overloading it. And I find using a powdered liner, it's quite forgiving. So if you don't have a steady hand, you can normally just blend it away or remove it with a Q-tip or use your finger, whatever you like, and it doesn't really stain too badly. Now the aim with this is to keep the line as fine as possible and as close and into your natural lash line as possible. This just adds a bit of thickness and definition through the lash line without being too thick or too full on. So that's just added a nice little frame to the top of my eye. I'm going to do the same on the bottom lid now, just on the outer edge. So I'm starting right at the edge of the corner in the lash line, just below, and sweeping the color in. And then I'm going to join the top line to the bottom, right in that corner there. Now what I also like to do is just go underneath in that corner, in the waterline, just to fill in and add that little bit extra depth. As you can see on this side where I've got the eyeliner, it just defines the eye just that little bit extra. And this eye is just a little bit softer. Either way is fine, whatever your preference is. So I'm just going to do the same thing on this eye, just taking it in the lash line and joining it at the corner. There we go. Now I love blending and I love soft looks, so I will actually soften that line with a nice fluffy brush. Awesome. And there we go. Nice soft brown powdered liner. Okay, next up, let's fill in my eyebrows. They need a bit of love, I think. I'm actually going to try another shade from the same Warm Collection palette. As I have quite copper hair, I think that this shade here, Serene, might work nicely, so I'm going to give that a go now. Another fine angled brush. The bristles on this one are just that little bit softer, so I find it's a really good tool for filling in the brows. So I'm concentrating the product on the base of my eyebrow and blending the residual product up through the tops. This way there's a more defined line at the bottom of the brow and it's soft and blended as you work outwards. This just adds a more natural effect, so it's not too defined or sharp. The idea, I guess, here is to look like you're not really wearing much makeup. Some of us are blessed with beautiful, thick, luscious eyebrows. I am not one of them. So I like to just fake it till I make it. Great. And now as a final step, I like to take a little mascara spoolie and just comb through the brows just to really blend the product through. Okay, now I'm just going to add a nice coat of mascara just to finish the eye. Remember to start at the base and work your way up. Okay, so now that we've done the eyes, I'm just going to finish with a little bit of tinted lip balm, just to add a little bit of colour. Now normally as an everyday look, this is plenty for me, but if you're feeling a little bit spicy, we can also add a highlighter. I've got the Thin Lizzy Luminous Lights highlighter trio here. Looks like this. Now I'm going to take the shade Champagne, as it's got some nice golden flecks in there. I'm just going to sweep my brush around it just a little bit, tap off the excess, and I'm just going to do a little bit on the top of the cheek, stretching up to the temple, just for a little extra glow. Now if you wanted to, you could also take a small eyeshadow brush and add a little highlight on the bow of the lip and along the bridge of the nose, but for me this is plenty. So here's my day look, all finished and completed. We've got some nice warmth through the cheeks and eyes, bit of lift with that highlighter on the cheekbones, and we're good to go for the day. Let's turn it into an evening look. So to start with, I'm going to deepen the eyes a little bit. Using the same eyeshadow palette, the Warm collection, I'm going to take the shade Obsession, which is this one right here, on the end of a nice fluffy crease brush. Now it's a nice deeper brown, still on the warm side. So I'm going to focus the product on the crease of my eye, the outer crease specifically, and I'm going to try and angle it a little bit up so that it gets a little bit up higher past the crease onto the brow bone. This adds a really good amount of definition. Now you really want to focus the majority of the product on the outer corner, right at the edge. And just work it through the crease about 3/4 of the way. So that's added a nice extra bit of definition there. Here's my day eye. And there's what I've just added. I'm going to do the same on the other eye. Now with another clean blending brush, I'm just going to go around the edges of that eyeshadow and just soften them. Great, now our eyes are looking a bit more defined, a bit deeper of a crease. Now we can play with some of these shimmer shades. So in the same eyeshadow palette, I'm going to use the shade Amber and Dreamin'. Those are these ones up here. So I'm just going to place that shadow on my mobile lid, making sure not to touch into the crease. Now I'd like to add a highlight to the eye, so I'm going to take the shade Champagne and just on the highest point of the eyelid like that. Now that that's done, I'm going to take the Cool Collection eyeshadow palette, looks like this, and I'm going to grab a small fluffy brush, like this one. I'm going to take the shade Candid, which is a nice diamond shimmer shade, and I'm just going to concentrate a little bit on the inner corner of my eye. Okay, now we can darken my eyeliner. I'm going to use the same palette with the shade Focus, which is a deep maroon brown, and I'm going to go over the same line I created before in the day look. This just thickens the base of the lashes and creates a nice full effect. Now for a bit more definition around the eyes, I'm going to add a brow bone highlight, taking the Warm Collection eyeshadow palette again, the shade Ivory. Tapping off the excess, I'm going to concentrate the product just under the arch of the brow and down a little bit towards the tail. You want it in a small space, you don't want to highlight the entire area, just try and keep it focused right beneath the brow. And there we are, eyes done. Now let's move on to highlight. As it's nighttime, I think I can get away with just a little extra highlighter. So I'm going to also take a straight-edged flat brush, and with the same shade, I'm going to outline my Cupid's bow and just taking it above as well. Using another fluffy brush, I'm going to also highlight the bridge of my nose and the center of my chin. I'm also going to deepen my contours with the same 6-in-1 bronzer as before. Adding a little bit more into the hollows of my cheeks. Now let's add some blush. I have here the Thin Lizzy Sweet Face Blush Palette. I'm going to take the shade Peaches and Cream with a clean blending brush. I'm just going to sweep a bit of product on there. Tap it off. And I'm just going to concentrate the blush right in the apple of my cheek, sweeping upwards. Moving into evening, it's a good idea to deepen the lip tone. So I'm going to actually use the Thin Lizzy Velvet Lip Cream in the shade Spicy Cinnamon. You want to concentrate the product through the center of the lips and blend outward towards the edges. I'm a big fan of these velvet lip creams. They go on beautifully and the applicator is genius. It makes it so easy to outline the lips. Definitely recommend those. And there you have it, my completed day to evening look. So let's talk about the products. Today I used the Perfectly Primed Pore Minimizing Primer. This primer went on really smooth and felt really velvety on the skin. Something that I noticed with most primers is they tend to get a little tacky and sticky, but this one went on like a dream, so I really enjoyed that one. I used the Loose Mineral Foundation in the shade Miss Von Ditter. I found this foundation fantastic. It goes on really nice and velvety and smooth. I wore it around all day and I noticed that the color did not oxidize or change and the finish remained the same the whole day. I really like how it feels. It doesn't feel like I'm wearing anything at all, which is perfect for me, someone who doesn't really like much of a heavy coverage. But I could definitely tell with the more that I added that you could build up a very heavy coverage if that's what you're after. So for myself, because I have a couple of light freckles, I do like them to show through to give that natural youthful appearance. So I found that this was a perfect product to showcase my freckles and cover my imperfections. So really good job on that one, guys. Now let's talk about these eyeshadow palettes. Today, I used both the warm and cool palettes, and I found that the matte shades were really beautiful and creamy, really easy to blend, and those colors, wow, really beautiful. I found that the shimmers were really vibrant, and they weren't as crumbly as some shimmers tend to be, so really nice job on those. Would definitely keep this and use this in my kit. As usual, I used my tried and trusted 6-in-1. She's got a little bit of wear and tear. She's had a lot of love over the years. It's great for everything. I cannot rave enough about this product. I did also today use the Sweet Face Blush Trio. These colors are stunning. However, if you do have an oilier skin type, I would steer against these ones as there is quite a bit of shimmer in there. So it is beautiful and dewy, but if you have quite a shiny appearance, I'd go for something more matte, especially if you plan to use highlight. Today for highlight, I did use the Luminous Lights palette. I love this palette. I found that the colors again were stunning. And something also in common with the eyeshadow is when you put shimmer, sometimes it can get a bit crumbly and not blend really nicely and get a little bit piecey and uneven. I didn't experience any of that with these. They go on almost like liquid. They're just really good. Definite must keep in your kit. Great guys, so those are my final thoughts on the Thin Lizzy range for my day to evening look. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel and I'll see you next time.